Hey everybody, what is going on? It is Crypto Bobby. Hope you are having a great day, great night, wherever you are watching in from. Merry Christmas if you celebrate Christmas. If not, happy holidays. Whatever you might celebrate there. Don't want to be exclusionary of anybody, but wanted to pop in for a quick little holiday edition of Crypto Happy Hour. Hope you guys are doing well and having a good one here. Let me just get the stream all straightened out and make sure everything is good. Good to go there. Awesome. Sorry for the short notice too. Just got back from hanging out with the family, so got a little bit of High West Rye in the cup. So hopefully you might have something good going on for you as well. And one of the interesting things about, at least in my mind, one of the big interesting things about crypto is obviously 24/7, 365 days out of the year marketplace. I mean, just because it's Christmas, just because it's whatever holiday, doesn't really make a difference at all. I'm gonna switch the light here a little bit just because somebody's already complaining. But it doesn't really make a difference at all as far as anything goes. The market's running whether you like it or not, and today is no different whatsoever. A lot of coins have had some really nice movements. One of the big ones that happened was something that I actually hopped out of pretty recently. Civic had a crazy pump in the past. Where's my guys over at Civic? Vinny Lingham. Crazy pump and dump, which was nuts. I actually sold all of my. It's over the course of 2 hours. Civic just absolutely pumped through the roof up. Pretty clear manipulation, I would say, but pumped up about 60, close to 70%, and then sold off really in the course of 2 hours or so. So that was pretty nuts. While that went down, I actually sold pretty much my entire ICO bag of Civic, as you guys can tell in my portfolio. Anytime that you want to look at it, but certainly that wasn't the best move. But Civic bottomed out in mid-December, it looks like, and has kind of had a nice little bit of a run since then. So taking a look at some of these comments here, guys. Hope you are all doing well. As I said before, we're going to try to get to as many of these as possible, but a lot of you guys know the drill. If there is anything that you absolutely must have answered, throw it in the super chat, and I will be able to get to it. If not, we'll go from there. So somebody said, Bobby, how do you feel about John McAfee? And I've had a couple different tweets that I joked around about it too, and some people got mad at me and were like, "You haven't done anything for the world. John McAfee has done everything," and all that kind of stuff. So what do we got here? Here's my little Home Alone tweet today about crypto Twitter running to buy the latest tweet after John McAfee shills it, and it's been pretty interesting to see. So he has basically chosen one crypto a day to talk about today. It wasn't the crypto of the day, but talked about Bitcoin. But Humanique, HMQ, was his crypto of the day. Let's see what the price action was on that bad boy when that went down. So you can see here, I believe let's look at a 1 hour. So you can see here the huge spike as soon as McAfee tweeted this, and it spikes up super fast and then it sells off. It spiked up about 150%. And then dipped off to now it's down by about 25%. It is, I don't think it's necessarily great for the market. I mean, people can say what they want to say, but obviously it, all these tweets, you can look at Humanique today, HMQ, if I'm even pronouncing that right. Another one, let's take a look at another one. Blah, 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 blah. I think the other one, so Verge was obviously one. After that, Electronium was another one. Basically, every single crypto he's ever mentioned since then has just absolutely mooned. I don't think it's necessarily the best thing in the world for the market. And even if you're an investor, it's not a great thing to me. Because, even if you're an investor, then obviously a spike is nice, but it's not a sustainable spike for the most part. I mean, yeah, this is up 25%, but it could continue to dip off. So we'll have to see what that might end up looking like. But I mean, this massive gap and shot up over the course of, really over the course of that was just crazy. Let's take a look at some of these. Chats here. What's up, David? What's going on, man? Happy holidays, buddy. What did I eat for Christmas? A bunch of appetizers, Italian, so lasagna, type of like prime rib, potatoes, all that good stuff. So looking at some more of these questions here. No days off. At what time does McAfee schedule these tweets? LOL. I mean, I think people have actually built bots, literally built trading bots based upon these tweets. So, I mean, if you just out of a heads up too, I mean, if you are trying to like buy into this stuff, if your money is not, if your Bitcoin or Ethereum is not on an exchange and you are not sitting at the computer within 5 minutes of one of these tweets coming out, or if you have a some type of bot built out, then it's not worth your time, because the spikes happen so quickly that the spikes on these moves. So this one spike within 5 minutes of that, you can see here within 5 minutes of that tweet, that went up. Within 5 minutes went up about 80%, and then in the next 5 minutes it went down. Let's see how far it went down. It went down quite a bit. It went down about 30 to 40%. So if you don't play it right and you try to hop on these pump trains, you can get burned very, very, very easily. So I would definitely recommend. I would definitely recommend that if you don't know what you're doing, you're playing with fire there. You're definitely playing with fire. Yeah, somebody's saying 1 minute max. Let's see, 1 minute. Yep. Yeah. It was actually 1 minute. 5 minutes is being generous. Yeah. In the 1 minute, I'm trying to zoom in here. In the 1 minute after McAfee tweeted that, the price went up 62% in 1 minute. So, yeah, unless you are literally within like 5 seconds, you don't have a shot. You don't have a shot. So, And I would think as more and more of these happen, either a couple different things are going to happen. Either people are just going to be like, all right, this is stupid. And all that's going to need to happen once is that, really all that I think is going to need to happen once is that it's not going to like work out or something like that, and then people stop doing it. Kind of like the ICOs. Everybody was putting money in ICOs, and then some of the ICOs didn't perform as hot, and then people just cooled off and tried to find the next thing. What is up, Rob Odo? Appreciate that super chat. Thank you very much. Happy holidays to you, buddy. Dilemma's taking profits because I always fear what if what I put the profits may fall. How do you have any suggestions on how to approach taking profits, where to put profits, etc.? I think a lot of that comes down to your personal strategy. I think a lot of that, quite frankly, does come down to what you're trying to get out of crypto. A lot of that comes down to what you're trying to get out of crypto, what you are expecting, or I guess kind of how you want to play things long term. Some people are very much just rolling profits back into Bitcoin, back into cryptocurrency, trying to acquire more. Some people are maybe less bullish on the long-term future of crypto and are trying to accumulate US dollars and take money out of the market so you have a little bit more safety in case it does crash long term. I think that to give you, I would say the two big things are, number one, if you want to take profits, the two approaches in a lot of respects, depending upon is, it's tough to tell you what percentage to take profits. Number one, do you take profits when you hit 15% or when you hit 50 or when you hit 500%? Because it's crypto, the components are obviously quite a bit different, but do you want to take profits in, I think the big debate area is, do you take profit and move that into Bitcoin and stack Bitcoin if you are very confident on the long-term success of something like Bitcoin, or do you do that and stack it into just US dollars and then you take that money, spend it do whatever you want with it and move on from there. For me personally, I'm trying to stack Bitcoin because I think Bitcoin might have I don't think it's an absolute definite, but it might have a really long-term future as that digital store of gold, that value in the future. So I'm trying to stack as much Bitcoin as possible. Long-term, that's kind of my goal, and that's what I'm really interested in doing. Another super chat there, thoughts on RDD. So I'll pull that up in CoinMarketCap here. Redcoin. A lot of people love talking about this bad boy after it pumped. Let's see where it's traded at. So it's on Bittrex. We'll look at the Bittrex chart here. Not a ton of it's a decent amount of volume recently. Let's just look historically wise. So back on this is a massive pump. I'm not, fundamentally speaking, I'm not exactly sure kind of what the deal is. I mean, back on December 15th or so, this was trading at about 50 million in market capitalization. It's up, almost pulling a 10 bagger right now. Basically pulled a 10 bagger in 2 weeks to $463 million. The volume has gone from being like less than $1 million a day to right now 150 million. If you guys, if there's anything comment-wise, you guys can tell me a little bit about. If there's anything comment-wise, you guys can tell me a little bit deliberately. Hey, Kevin, he's deliberately not speaking about Verge. LOL. Yeah, dude, I'm just purposely spiting you. If you really want me to talk about it, throw it in the super chat, brother. Don't be cheap. I'm kidding, but no, seriously. I try to get to as many comments as I can. There's 900 people watching, so just because there's 7,000 comments about Verge, I can't talk about everything. So I will try to get to. See, there we got a super chat. Rob Odo, thank you. I will now talk about Verge. So there we go. Nothing grinds my gears more than when somebody goes, hey, why is he purposely avoiding my question? I don't know, maybe because there's 7,000 other comments. I'm kidding. But seriously. So Redcoin, this is one that, as far as the pump goes on this one, it's tough. Even looking on like the daily charts here like the just volume is so low on Bittrex that is, it's hard to like look at and make any type of determination based off this. But if there's a specific reason why this bad boy is pumping, I haven't really seen too much as far as why it's pumping. But I'm kind of hesitant to play, and a lot of times I get burned for it too. I get burned for it because I don't like seeing something go from $1 million in volume in 1 week to $150 million in volume the next and up 10x, and I don't necessarily play too much with it. So I get a little bit nervous with that. Sometimes I miss out on some profits because I don't think something like that might have the fundamentals unless there's something really behind that. So Mark said, hey, what's up, dude? Like the channel. Thank you very much. What software do you use for YouTube videos? And what do you think about BitConnect for 2018, 2019? Christmas and BitConnect. 2 words I never want to put together. So the software I use is OBS. It is, what do we got here? OBS Project. If you ever wanted to use it or for whatever, it's free software. It's open source. It's what I like to use. Literally, you don't pay for it, so it's legit. It's pretty solid. I like OBS. I like OBS more than I like BitConnect. I'm not gonna go on a BitConnect tangent, but I'm not a big fan of the BitConnect promoters that try and say like it's guaranteed money, it's going to be around forever, and then try and act innocent and say that, oh yeah, there's no trading bot, but it just magically makes money. It's a pyramid scheme. Come on. There you go. That's what I think. Could it go on for, I know it pays out. I know that it, it's working for the time being. Could it work for a week? Yes. I've run the math on it. Is it profitable if you pull your money out basically over the course of 2.5 months? Yes. Could it end before then? Yes. Could it last for 10 years? Yep. But fundamentally speaking, it's about as triangular as you can get in nature. Any news that caused the Verge drop this week? I mean, I think there was the whole deal with Johnny Boy McAfee, kind of pumping this bad boy up. I mean, you got to look at this, and you have to think, I mean, in a lot of respects, you have to look at this, and I don't want to say you got to be crazy to buy in, because you can buy in and you can crush it. But when you're buying in on a pump, bad things can really happen. Like, let's be pretty frank. Bad things can absolutely happen when you buy in on a pump. So, what's it called? Terrible things can. A triangle isn't a pyramid scheme. Yep. No, somebody just said Ty's going into BitConnect. Don't do it. Don't do it, Ty. There's so many Lambos. That dude's going to make so many Lambos. Just shilling referral links for BitConnect. You know how many suckers are out there that would just, 1% a day? That's super realistic. But getting back to the point on Verge, I mean, fundamentally speaking, over the course of, depending upon where you got in, over the course of 11 days, you made 3,000%. That's outrageous. That is nuts. Depending upon where you bought in, and a lot of times I'm not a big fan of buying into a pump, but even if you did buy in after the initial pump up, you still could have made over 100%. But if you bought the top right now, and I'm sure a lot of people did, because this is going to go on forever. It's going to go on forever. You might be down 30+% right now. So this is why, I mean, a lot of times I don't play in these pump games, or I try not to be. I want to try to find the fundamental cryptos. I want to try to find the fundamentals where I can get in before this, where I really like something, and I'm going to be able to get in before this ends up happening. And that's kind of my overall thought process there. So, I mean, as far as a specific reasoning why this is dropping, I would probably just say, I mean, when something goes up 3,000%, somebody's going to take profit, and there's going to be a sucker at the top that's going to buy at the top, and you're going to get dumped on. So, I mean, that's one of the big things there, at least in my mind. Jeremy L., appreciate that super chat, man. So, Mastacular, thank you very much for that. Very kind of you. I really do appreciate that. Don't want any TA or anything, just want support. Got into crypto trading last month, and your channels helped me a ton in getting caught up and familiar with it. Merry Christmas. Well, thank you very much. Very, very kind of you with that super chat. Thank you. Very appreciated. Apartment 1D, what is up? Would you discuss why and how people use Tether? So Tether is, if you're not familiar with it, if you're brand new to crypto, if you don't have any idea with it, so Tether USDT is the symbol. Tether is basically, it's a cryptocurrency, but it is a cryptocurrency, but it is pegged to the dollar. So if you go here, a couple different, Bittrex, Poloniex, and Bitfinex are some of the big ones. I think Binance has dollar Tether as well. But Bitcoin, they'll have a Bitcoin market, they'll have an Ethereum market, and they will have a US dollar Tether market. And there's a lot of controversy right now. Actually, probably out of everything in crypto, this might be one of the most contentious things, and this might be one of the most things like, I joke around about BitConnect, and a lot of people might get salty with me or whatever and get mad, but if BitConnect goes to zero, if BitConnect blows up, I really think it will have absolutely no effect on cryptocurrency whatsoever. Will there be some negative articles? Yeah. Will some people that shouldn't have put money into it lose their money? Yeah, but it is what it is, because if you put your money into that, you better know that could absolutely blow up. But the US dollar Tether stuff, there is a lot of potential kind of like, I don't want to call FUD, but there is, check out Bitfinex on, so we'll pull this up. There we go. So the second thing, if you search Bitfinex, the second thing is Bitfinex. Search this guy, and his basically kind of entire existence right now. I followed him for a while, and then it just got a little bit I got a little bit overwhelmed. But I think his points are valid. So they with Tether, there's a lot of basically it's supposed to be tied to the US dollar. It works well right now. For right now, it works well. But the big controversy around it is they're printing tethers basically like out of nowhere. And there has never been an independent, real, like a legitimate audit, like Ernst & Young or Deloitte or PwC is never, or like a big four, basically. They've said they've had audits. They don't, kind of remember, or they don't really, I don't know, they haven't proved all that much. But they, so Bitfinex is kind of out there basically looking at the relationship between Tether, between Bitfinex, and saying that like Tether is just printing things out of nowhere. There's supposed to be $1 for every US dollar tether. For every tether out there, there's supposed to be $1 behind it. There's supposed to be, but there really is no proof of that. How you actually use this stuff if you're brand new is basically the reasoning for it, although it's not, at least in the US, not that big of a deal. The reasoning for it is that instead of having to go, like if you have your money on Bittrex or if you have your money on Binance or something like that, and you think the Bitcoin market's going to crash, or like the entire crypto market's going to crash, a lot of times, like if you think crypto is going to crash, there's no like safe place to put your money. There's nowhere to go to be like, oh yeah, it's going to crash. I'll just put my money in this coin because it's going to stay stable. There isn't that nature at all, except for the US dollar tether. That is kind of the big use case because it's a stable store of value that may or may not just be complete monopoly money and kind of thrown out of nowhere. So that is something that it's probably okay to trade short-term wise, but long-term, kind of holding your money there with the amount of like FUD that's happening with Bitfinex and with a lot of other people basically just saying like it's getting fishier and fishier and fishier. That's something I think you want to consider. But the one thing there too, so crypto to crypto, at least in the US, is taxed the same as is trading US dollar tether to Bitcoin. So there's no like tax advantage. There isn't a tax advantage in the US, at least. Maybe internationally there might be, but with a lot of the changes that are going on right now, there is no tax advantage to trading US dollar tether versus trading the real dollar, I guess one might say. So Alejandro said, please make that Ponzi dance again. This one. It's the old triangle dance. That's what they say. It's not what they say at all, but where is it here? There we go. My favorite GIF of all time. If it so when somebody's like, "Hey man, what do you think about BitConnect?" and I'm like, "I don't know." That's my dance. Okay, there we go. We're good. ICX just got listed in at number 20 on CoinMarketCap. Bought at $3. Going to hold for long term. South Korean company making headlines. Yeah, ICX has been an interesting one for sure. It's been pretty cool too to see some of the. It's been pretty interesting as well to see that the kind of development of some of the older school cryptos out there that have kind of maybe slowly, I don't want to say died off, but kind of died off. Whereas some of these newer school cryptos or some of these other ones have popped through. So it has been. It's been interesting to see. I mean, Icon, depending on, I think somebody just said in that super chat, dives 200%. Got in at $3. I mean, 100% profit. That is always a strong move. Aaron, Merry Christmas. Thank you for that. Happy holidays to you as well. Thoughts on Enigma? I know it pumped today, but looks good on fundamentals with the MIT team and everything. So I've heard a couple different people. There's been a few different people. I don't want to say pumping Enigma. I mean, that's a massive move, 70%. Venture Coinist, I believe. Luke, what is his name? This guy was really early on to this one. Where we got Luke Martin. If you're not following him on Twitter, he's a good follow, but he has been, like I said, I wouldn't say pumping at all, but he had a really solid call on Enigma back. Let's see how long it goes. So Yeah, December 18th, he said buying more Enigma, new data points, flying 65% since entry, over 100%. Yeah, he crushed it on the Enigma call. So I didn't buy into any Enigma, but I think that there's some pretty smart people out there that are fans of the project. So depending upon where you got in, whether it was ICO, whether it was kind of after that cooldown period, it's up about 3x since since mid-December. Nice move there. So I have some money to play with for James. Appreciate the super chat, dude. I have some money to play with for a mid-price coin, EOS or Icon. For me personally, I'm a bigger fan out of both. Like, I like Cardano more than I like EOS or EOS, whatever anybody wants to talk about. But I'm a bigger fan of Cardano than I am of EOS. So I mean, that would be my personal preference. That's kind of one of the big things that I'm stocking into right now. Both have pumped really hard recently. Both Cardano and EOS have gone from less than $1 billion crypto to $5 and $10 billion crypto respectively. But I really do like the platform plays quite a bit. I think they are, I've said it before, I'll definitely say it again. I mean, I think the platform plays are, in a lot of respects, some of the hardest to properly value. And because of that, at least now for investors, that's kind of advantageous for right now. But the selling point too, and I'm a big holder of Ethereum, but outside of that, there is a legitimate value proposition in some respects there is a legitimate value proposition in a lot of cases to being the next Ethereum or having people think that you could be the next Ethereum. Somebody said, what's with the Litecoin Facebook rumors? I've heard those all over the place. That doesn't seem to be factual whatsoever. I think that's just silliness. Somebody said, hey, can you give your opinion on Lux Coin? I think these guys reached out to me at one point in time. Yeah, I think they reached out to me at one point in time. Did a little bit of research. I wasn't... I mean... It is pretty, to be honest, I mean, it's pretty crazy that a company can literally have their website say, full website coming soon, stay tuned for more information, and be worth still $5 million at this point. It's a little bit too small for me to have much interest. I'm going to be pretty frank. Don't really have a completed website. Under 10 mil in market cap, under $1 million in daily volume. A little bit too small for me. Certainly could do a little bit more research, but I feel like that's a lot of buzzwords. SegWit, smart contracts, master nodes, proof of work, proof of stake, hybrid, algorithm, blah, 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 blah. I feel like that's all just, let's just throw a bunch of buzzwords together, hope a bunch of investors hop on. I mean, I could be totally wrong about them. I mean, they could be super legit, but yeah, who knows? So, Crypto Cats, what is up, dude? It was great meeting you in Vegas. Yeah, still, I need to shoot you back an email. Sorry about that. But it was awesome to meet you. Yeah, and definitely could shoot you over that email and hopefully get a chance to get in your channel. That would be awesome. Chris Go, get ready. Bobby does a live stream. Bitcoin dives 200%. I don't know if I don't think it's mathematically possible for anything to dive 200%, but maybe we'll say 20%. So let's see, looking at the charts. Hey, we're about even since, if not a little bit up since I hopped on there. Vince, what is up, dude? Thank you very much for that super chat. Super kind of you. Keep up the good work. What are your thoughts on Bitcoin? Just kidding. Don't do it to me. Don't do it to me, Vince. Don't you do that. And guys, if you are new to the channel by any chance, I mean, it's Christmas. I'm not asking for gifts, but you can throw me a sub. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, if you are new to the channel by any chance, I do daily videos on the subject of crypto. And then I do these YouTube live crypto happy hours every once in a while. So if you'd like to get these more often, hit the subscribe button, the notify bell there. Would really appreciate that. If not, still love you anyway. So looking at some of these thoughts, Zcoin, the question is Zcoin just a pump and dump? So, it's tough. Right now there are a lot of cryptos that are just mooning. So Zcoin is up 70% right now. In the past week, it went from being worth 250 mil in market cap. That's pretty rich. Nothing that's by no means anything to sneeze at. $68-70 all the way up right now to what do we got? $160, so up 70%. Pretty significant move there. There are a lot of cryptos that are just popping off, and it is kind of tough to tell the difference between what is a pump and dump and what might have some legitimate fundamentals behind it. So, I would just recommend as much. Wow, Ryblox is crushing it. That's incredible. We'll talk about that in a second. Ryblox is up. I need to listen to some of you guys more often. So you guys are not always, you guys are pretty ahead of the trends. Ryblox started getting mentioned quite a bit when it was up to like $1 initially, and then it started getting mentioned even more when it was at $3, pulled back a little bit, and is now up all the way to $6.84, close to $1 billion in market cap, 900 million. That's pretty incredible. But as far as Zcoin just being a pump and dump, quite frankly, I don't know. There's a lot of crypto today up. You got Dent up 80%. Somebody else asked about Dent. What do I think about Dent Coin? Zcoin is up. Enigma is up quite a bit. Ripio is up. To find the specific fundamentals behind each one of these popping off, I think you have to do a little bit more of some due diligence on each one of these, and to see kind of where the fundamentals are. Let's see here. I'm just trying to get rid of some of these stupid comments. Sub talk, please. Guys, if you're going to comment, at least say something. Don't just write your token 7,000 times and be like, Verge. Just write something about it. Because if you don't, I think you're like a bot just spamming or something. But thoughts about Dent Coin, that's another one that is up 80% on the day. Another one there's an entire list. I probably have 5 or 10 right now that's on the list. Ryblox has been up there. Dent is one. Zcoin I could throw on the list too, but there's quite a few that I really need to just read the white paper on, sit down, take some time off. Luckily, I have off of work this week, so I can kind of catch up on doing a little bit more due diligence on some of these ones, so I can kind of get down with that. So my favorite comment right now, Tobias, what is up? Did you have a good Christmas? Yes, I did, and I hope you had a good Christmas as well, Tobias. Thank you. That was a very kind comment. So somebody said, yo, Bob, check out T0 if you want. It's not out yet, but check their website. So T0 is the ICO from Overstock.com. It is only for accredited investors. I am not an accredited investor. Therefore, I don't really care too much about it. Shout out to Mike Kessler for holding it down in the Facebook group. Yeah, Mike is my moderator in the Facebook group. Mike is fantastic. If you guys are in the Facebook group, Mike helps me out quite a bit. So thank you to I don't know if Mike is on. I don't know if Mike is on the line here, but shout out to Mike. Really do appreciate everything you do. And thank you to Matt, to Garth, and to Matt again. What are your thoughts on the Breadcoin bread token sale? I spoke to a couple different people on the bread team. We'll look at so about 31 mil in volume. Where are they at? They're at Binance right now. I don't know if the charts are new enough to get any specific legit information from them. BRD duh. So I'm actually going to look into bread just from a valuation perspective. I know a couple people that went in really hard on the ICO. I talked to their team a little bit previously. Had a chance to interact with them. Pretty legit. They've obviously been around for quite some time, but I didn't get a chance to. I was kind of just late on the ICO train, so I didn't get a chance to participate in it. And yeah, it's one that I'm going to do a little bit more research on, but I am definitely not opposed to taking a dip. I don't know what the market cap is yet. It's not. I think it's pretty brand new. Let's see when it came out. Yeah, hopped out 2 days ago or so. So I need to figure out kind of exactly what. Let's see the total supply. I don't know what the circulating supply is, but if it's a reasonable market cap, then I definitely wouldn't mind dipping my toes into the water there. Yeah, somebody said if you like Walton, check out Wabi. The Walton use case, the Wabi use case, VeChain is another one. Fans on those. So somebody mentioned, yo, Bobby, what do you think about Salt? Salt's had a solid run as of late. It got crushed after the ICO. I mean, it's up to $12 now. Basically an all-time high since the ICO. So that is certainly something to take into mind, depending upon where people got it. A lot of people bought this at there were some people that I believe got this ICO at under $1 and as high as $25. So the ICO is kind of run on a scaling method, I believe, but I mean, you can't argue with the results recently. They have some pretty solid people on their team, and I know a lot of people are fans of it. It's kind of the big, not like lending. I don't buy these Bitcoin. I earn these Bitcoin, like an actual lending platform, like a Prosper or Lending Club, that type of deal. So, Mark, what is up, dude? Appreciate that. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas to you too, man. And to anybody else who's celebrating Merry Christmas or any other holiday or whatever, Merry Christmas or Merry Monday night to you, or Monday day or Tuesday, wherever you're watching in from. But like the channel, thank you. Very, very kind of you there. Have a grand to play around with. Do you think I should buy more Bitcoin on a dip? Go with NXT, Tron, Verge. So, I mean, my thoughts on that is, so I'm number one a fan of Bitcoin. I think that you probably should have some portion. Again, I'm not a financial advisor or anything like that, but having some part of your portfolio in Bitcoin is, I think, a good thing. Outside of that, I mean, you're mentioning right now Tron and Verge, which are both two cryptos that have pumped up massively in the past couple of, really recently. So I would personally, if I were you, I wouldn't play with Tron or, personally, I wouldn't really play with Tron or Verge. Not saying anything wrong with either Tron or Verge, but if you're trying to, and I don't want to say, you want to find the next Tron or Verge, but in some cases you kind of do. You want to find something out there with good fundamentals that you believe in that could potentially do what Tron or Verge just did, going from being worth, not that much to basically being worth, over $1 billion, over $2 billion in market cap. So I personally wouldn't. I think, buying into Tron or Verge now is because you're buying on all this excitement and all this, oh my God, we, just made so much money off Tron. We just made so much money off Verge. But I don't know if I necessarily go that route specifically. Verge dead. So Cryptic Slayer, what is don't FUD Verge? Yeah, bro, I'm just fudding so hard, so hard. So looking at this, Cryptic Slayer mentioned Substratum. Pop this bad boy. Substratum's up big time today. Ain't no debating that. It is up 48%. I think Substratum is an interesting play. It's been an interesting play kind of ever since the whole net neutrality thing went down. So that is definitely something that to take into account. I think that is it's a lot of things out there are kind of hot button buzzwords, in my opinion, that drive people to invest in cryptocurrency. Like everybody in the chat, and I have nothing against Verge whatsoever, literally nothing. But everybody in the chat right now is saying Verge. You go to Verge's website, it is a privacy coin. It's secure. It's anonymous. It's privacy. You see Monero. You see Zcash. You throw privacy in a cryptocurrency, and it, for the most part, it does pretty well. It can do pretty well. And that is kind of an investing thesis behind certain things. It's a private cryptocurrency. It's secure, and people will throw money into it because of it. Other things like being an Ethereum killer, whether Cardano or EOS or Lisk or whatever, there's certain like little type of like buzzwords that people can throw out that will do really well even if they are never going to come, even if they're never going to come through on their kind of proponents or what they're trying to do, they'll still pump for the most part. So if you post the same comment like 3 times, I promise I see it. I'm just going to block you. So we'll pop in here. Garth, I appreciate that super chat, dude. Thank you very much for that. Somebody just said, GTI just said, you hate Verge, you sucking a-hole. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate that. Merry Christmas to you, too. And Happy New Year. And now you're blocked. And Merry Christmas. My gift to you. So what we got? Somebody here said, Bobby didn't answer my super chat. Dude, I super chatted you. Jeremy L. Did I miss one? Jeremy, I don't think I got a super chat from you, brother. Where we got? Actually, Jeremy, write the comment again so I could see it. I missed it. Hit me up with your comment again, Jeremy, and then we can go. I'll definitely get to it. It's just when it's not included in the super chat, then I can't really see it. I can't see it as well. There's so many comments, so it gets lost. But hit me up with that. Okay, ask the question about gain loss tracking. So I'm not exactly sure the entire focus of the question, but for gain loss tracking, for me personally, Bitcoin.tax is a pretty easy way. So if you go into the YouTube description or in the description of this video, I use Bitcoin.tax and then I use cointracking.info. There's 2 links to both in the description of this video. And Bitcoin.tax a little bit cheaper. There's a little bit less functionality. Cointracking.info has some more like dashboards and some other things like that as well. But you can use both from a taxation perspective as well as profit loss, P&L statements, tax tracking, all that stuff. Basically, you can either use APIs or you can just export. You go into, if you use GDAX, if you use Binance, if you use Bittrex, whatever, then basically you can just export that stuff into it. CoinTracking has a little bit more features, but I think Bitcoin.tax has maybe been a little bit more accurate from a software perspective. So I would definitely check out Bitcoin.tax. You upload your CSVs into it, and then it'll automatically calculate even if you're not using it necessarily for taxes. It's cool from a profit loss perspective, so you can get a feel for what trades did well for you. So Crypto Supply Co. Bread, great entry point, 750,000 users. Second biggest mobile wallet after Coinbase, market cap only 332 mil out of ICO. Merry Christmas from Cali. Yeah, Crypto Supply Co. I haven't gotten into it yet, but I might hop on that train. Like I said, that the meetup group that the kind of like small, it's not really even a meetup group, but it's like this like group of like 10 guys that I've started to have a couple different meetings with, and that's the one that was big on Cardano. They were big on VeChain. They've had some other really nice calls, ZeroX as well. I know a couple guys that I respect highly in that group, and I think that they are very educated on the crypto space. And they went heavy into the Bread ICO. And like I said, I did not participate in it. I have not gotten a chance to do a ton of diligence into it, but that's probably like number 1 or number 2 on the list there for me to go into. So Michael says, I'm new with this, and maybe you can tell me what exchange you use to buy altcoins. So I have a couple different videos on that, pretty recent one, but there's a link to Binance below. Once you have Bitcoin or Ethereum, you can move it off Coinbase, do whatever, throw it over to Binance. For the most part, Bittrex is not taking new users, so Binance is probably your second best bet. Crypto Supply, what's heavy for you? Probably like 5 to 10 mil. No, I'm kidding. Like I said, I'm not accredited, so. So, Mr. Black Sheep, what is up, dude? Do you think the issue of Bitcoin fees is going to harm the price and interest in it if something isn't solved in the near future? So, I do think that there is an issue with the Bitcoin fees right now. I think that Bitcoin fees are definitely something that is prohibitive in a lot of respects in terms of the initial like maybe vision of Satoshi or the transactional peer-to-peer cash. Like you're not going to use Bitcoin to buy a t-shirt when it's going to cost $10 in fees to buy a $30 t-shirt. They are working on scalability issues. They are going through that process, and I really do hope that the Bitcoin core team, if you want to say the core team instead of just the Bitcoin team, but all the Bitcoin developers and stuff, I'm hoping that they can kind of push through those scalability issues. Bitcoin is my largest holding. I think that right now Bitcoin is becoming in a lot of respects more of a store of value, more of a digital gold that people are basically buying and accumulating because it's going to hold value and potentially increase in value and be a store of value long term. Although not that was very often the initial intent of Bitcoin by any stretch. So something to consider there as you continue to go on. So somebody said, Conflit, thinking of purchasing Substratum, KMD, ETHLend, thoughts. What are some of your favorite new low price coins that are still undervalued in your opinion? So I'm going to be, fairly frank. I don't really look at the price of a crypto, more of a market cap. And I think that in a lot of respects, you can look at some pretty large cryptos and they'll still pump hard. So I wouldn't just, limit yourself to maybe something that is, I would try and find cryptocurrency that you find fundamentally appealing to you, that you do your research on, you think that there is a legitimate investing thesis behind it, and you are comfortable putting your money into it. I wouldn't just buy something because it's, quote unquote low priced, because even if, Wow, Dogecoin is over $1 billion again. That is incredible. But even if something is right now over $1 billion, like let's just say it's over $1 billion, it can still pump like super, like it can still really move. There have been, regardless of kind of what it's been, whether it's been, IOTA was maybe $1 billion. It's now $9 billion. Cardano basically pulled it 10x. You can still pull a multiple X gain on a $1 billion cryptocurrency. So it doesn't have to be something under $100 million or under $1, under $5 or anything like that. So I'm more looking at fundamentals personally. I think Substratum has some interesting fundamentals. I don't know too much about ETHLend. I've heard a variety of things. Komodo, I think KMD is Komodo. Yep. Komodo is another one. I mean, that has $1 billion market cap there. So obviously larger in nature. But I think that like that level, so not necessarily anything specifically about Komodo, but that kind of level is a little bit, I think that level is appealing to me right now because there's some element of fundamentals and there's probably enough bag holders on these cryptos that they're not going to just totally tank. But with that being said, they still have, if it is a legit crypto, there's still an opportunity to just go up and up and up like some of these have. Somebody said Civic had a good run recently. Yes, absolutely. And that was Civic had a good run after I sold. Somebody mentioned Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas to you too. I was wondering your thoughts on R-Chain. I don't know if I've ever heard of these guys. Oh, probably should have heard about them. So where they traded just on Ether Delta. That's probably why I haven't heard too much about him. But I mean, pretty large overall in size and market cap. I guess had a decent sized pump back in mid December. I haven't done too much due diligence on these guys. I'll add them to the list and kind of see what the deal is with them. But haven't done enough on our chain to see. And I'm just not a massive fan of crypto that's only, for the most part, only trading on Ether Delta. Just because when it's only trading on Ether Delta, it could be a little bit of that Ether Delta graveyard. So looking at some of these questions, and then obviously the super chats there as well. Your thoughts on QSP? Looks like a good project. QuantStamp up. Yep. So I don't know exactly what QuantStamp ICO'd at, if it was at the $30 million range. If you got into the QuantStamp ICO, if that was, I think it was a $30 million, which is kind of that sweet spot, in my opinion. You don't want to go too much higher than like, I think 50 mil is kind of like the limit right now of like an ICO where people are like, yo, that's like way too much money. But 30 million, it seems like it's like, okay, well, we're going to buy into this $30 million ICO. It's probably going to pump up to like, if it's a halfway decent project, it'll probably hit like 100 mil. We'll pull 3x and we can do whatever we want with it. So QuantStamp has a solid team. I know I got offered an interview with their CEO, I believe, and didn't get a chance to go through that, to conduct that interview with them. But I've seen a couple different interviews with, I think Jackson Palmer had an interview with the CEO of QuantStamp. I like what they're doing. I like the approach that they are taking I think smart contracts are a massive use case, and what they could potentially pull off is really impressive. So I also like that they were working for a number of months as just co-founders before they started anything, before that they had the pre-sale, and they're trying to grow the team out quite a bit. So I'm a fan of kind of how they're conducting their business, the way they're going about things. and when it comes down to it, I mean, they were in Y Combinator. They've worked with a couple legit companies. They've had some pretty legitimate backers. I think Richard Ma and a couple other guys, they have some pretty strong technical chops, and they have a team that can really innovate. So I like that aspect for them a lot. I don't have any quant stamp though, although that would have been a move to do, and definitely would have been a good thing. So a couple of different people, it looks like, arguing in the comments about what's going to be next listed on Coinbase. Obviously, what you think that's going to be listed next in Coinbase is your biggest bag. That is obviously if you hold Ripple, Ripple's going to be the most, the next. If you have all of your money in Ripple, obviously you think Ripple's going to be the next crypto listed on Coinbase. If you have Cardano, you think that's going to be the next one. If you have whatever. If you have Dogecoin, you think that's going to be the next crypto listed on Coinbase. I mean, it's, I guess, a good argument, or not necessarily a good argument, but the trying to time which one is going to be, and I don't know. You could probably make quite a bit more. I just don't see the point. I made a video about it before, but I don't see the point of, let's see here. Sorry, I'm just blocking people for stupid shit. I don't see the point of some of the kind of constant anticipation of what's on Coinbase, what's on Coinbase, what's on Coinbase, what's on Coinbase. Like, if it gets listed there, it gets listed there, but your coin could do a 5x before, or another coin could do a 5x before something gets listed on Coinbase. So somebody mentioned any quality crypto books that you recommend. Digital Gold is one that I absolutely recommend. I'll see if I can put it in the comments here for you guys. So Digital Gold is one. If you have not read that, that is fantastic. The other one is Crypto Assets by Chris Berniski. Both are phenomenal. I would definitely recommend both of them. So Digital Gold is more of kind of the story of the founding of Bitcoin. So if you're interested in, like, it was, I think, published in 2015, so it is something that, it's something now that, at least with Digital Gold, like, it was basically, like, just maybe at the founding of Ethereum, and there were just a couple, like, basically just a couple other cryptos out there, not that many. So there were not that many other, like, alternative cryptos beyond what Bitcoin was bringing, and Digital Gold goes over the founding of that. So there is, let's see here. I don't know if that'll post or not. That's one of them, and then the other one is outside of Digital Gold. It's Crypto Assets by Chris Berniski as well. So Diogi just mentioned in Super Chat, type the name of, thank you for that. Type your question on the line that states you the amount and message, and that will become public. Yeah, that helps me a lot. So looking through some of these, questions here. Sweet. So going through some of these questions, what indicators do you use when trading crypto? I'm not a big TA guy. That's just not my area of expertise. I mean, I'm really not an expert at all in much of anything. So I'll preface that. My background is in technology, so I do a little bit more of just reading white papers, understanding kind of the community around some of these companies, trying to understand my background's in tech, but I'm not a software engineer. So I try to see, like, what engineers actually think about specific projects, kind of what experts think about specific projects, and then make really making educated guesses as far as what projects I think are going to have the most success, and try not to go too much on. Try not to do. I just don't have the expertise there as far as specific indicators. Like looking at the MACD or the RSI or different entry exit points. I think there's a lot of people that have that level of expertise. That's not really me. So not something I want to pretend to. Not something I want to pretend to do. But for me, it's more of just trying to find fundamentals, and then having mid to long term holds is kind of my bigger strategy, or the indicators that I use. So Frank, Merry Christmas, dude. Does it concern you that the market can react as dramatically as it does at times to just a tweet, or is that just we're at this point in the evolution? Does it scare me a little bit? I mean, in some cases, yes. It depends a little bit on the tweet itself. It depends on like what the market as a whole is doing and certain things like that. But I am not. To me, it doesn't make that much of a difference. I mean, I think the market is, we're up to close to $600 billion in market capitalization again, but it's still such an immature market. It's still so young and so new that it doesn't make that much of. I mean, we still have so long to go in terms of just the overall crypto world. So it's something that I think that I'm looking at more and more as far as like manipulation and things like that, trying to get an understanding of how things work in different tweets and signals and things like that. But it doesn't really concern me that much, just because I think there's such a long way to go. Somebody said favorite proof of stake with a masternode reward coin. I mean, so you could just do something like this, like most popular proof of stake coins, not proof of state. So this was something that was like back in January of last year, so it's not that new. But I mean, there's Dash was one that if you held on to Dash. So the one thing I'll say about proof of stake is it sounds interesting. It sounds great in theory. Like you're like, oh yeah, basically a dividend to hold on to this stuff. Depending upon what it is, the annual return may or may not be worth it at all. Dash, to have a masternode back at I forget when it was. You needed basically $300,000 to have a masternode of Dash, and you made an additional 7.5%. The annual return staking a cryptocurrency wasn't the big thing. It was just holding on to it because Dash is over $1,200 now. So that was one of the big aspects of it. Was that just kind of buying and holding. Neo is another one you get gassed when you have Neo. I think that is an interesting one potentially. But even then, you're talking about 5% annual return, which in comparison to regular crypto, like if you were just thinking, okay, 5% return in the stock market, like it's pretty solid, not bad at all, right? In crypto, you might hold Neo for a 5% staking return to get gas, but at the same point in time, you're probably seeing all these other you're probably seeing Verge go up 1,000%. You're seeing Tron go up. You're seeing whatever go up. You're seeing all these other cryptocurrencies go up, and then you're seeing all these other cryptocurrencies go up, and then from there, it is you might just lose a little bit of hope long term as far as sticking around for that that gas or that whatever. You can see the same with Civic, 4%, 5%. I don't know too much about OK Cash. I haven't heard about that. This is an older article. Stratus is another one. I mean, it really just comes down to, is it worth holding on to this crypto for a 4% or for a 5% return if it's not going to perform as well as something like Bitcoin or anything else that can go up quite a bit in that time frame? Tyler White, will you please respond to your viewers' questions? Yeah, you're the only one with questions, man. I'm kidding. But, yeah, I'm trying to I try to respond to as many as possible, but when there are 1,000 people in the YouTube Live, I can't get to every question, Tyler. Merry Christmas, though, buddy. Nothing grinds my gears. Kidding. I'll take a look at Bitcoin now too. Let's see what's up with Bitcoin on. I'll take a look at GDAX. Bitcoin chilling in the 14. I'm kidding, Tyler. I'm kidding, brother. I try to answer as many questions as I possibly can. So looking at XRM, solid investment. What do we got here? I think you might be talking about Monero, and if so, I do think something like XMR, which is Monero. I have Zcash, but I like Monero as well. Monero, I know Verge is obviously crushing it recently. Verge is actually more valuable than Zcash, even though I would debate that both the Monero and the Zcash team have more promise than the Verge team. But the market isn't always rational, and it is what it is. But I do think privacy coins are a really big investing thesis, a big reason that a lot of people are throwing money into a random cryptocurrency or any other crypto out there. So, yeah, that's definitely something to to consider. So it looks like, I don't know if it's even more recently or not, but somebody else is saying Verge is getting smashed. It's actually made a little bit of a recovery. I mean, I think that's the thing. It's like, it's like I was saying before, it's gone up how many percent? It's gone up a ridiculous amount. It's actually recovered fairly nicely today. But, when you buy into something that's up a couple 1,000%, it's probably going to pull back at some point or another. And that is, that's something that, as far as Monero, I'm all over the place right now. But as far as Verge goes, you buy into something when it goes that high up, there is certainly an opportunity for a big pullback, and you always want to be wary. That's the really tough thing. I mean, that's one of the toughest things about crypto is, you could have gotten in, you could have looked at this and been like, oh my God, this is going to be the top. And then it shoots up another, how many percent since here? When you thought maybe you bought the top, it shoots up another 100%. So it's really tough to call the top, on some of these things. And then this may be the top, and it just dips off 30, 40% since then. So that's why just buying something when it's moving this heavily can really, there's a lot of volatility there. There's definitely quite a bit of volatility. So somebody said weak hands deserve what they get, and I get that too. But I'll also say this, and I'm usually a mid to long term holder personally. But I don't like when, maybe it's just me. I'm not a big fan of like when people get mad at other people for selling. That's how a market is developed. There's buyers and there's sellers. There's always going to be somebody seller. There's always going to be somebody selling. Not necessarily the person that sells has weak hands or whatever. I think it's just like everybody expects everybody in crypto to just buy. And at some point in time, somebody's going to, somebody down there is taking 1,000% profit, and they're going to be happy to sell that to the next Johnny bag holder and move along. So I'm not a huge, everybody always jokes around or meaningfully says, weak hands selling, and like blames a crypto dropping on weak hands. But it's a volatile market, and things can happen quick. Things can really happen quick. Buy BitConnect coin instead of Monero. That sounds like solid investment advice. I didn't see who that chat was from. I'm not sure if that was from Warren Buffett or if that was from something else. But yeah, buying BitConnect coin instead of Monero, that's about as good of like I said, I don't give investment advice. I'm not a registered financial advisor, but if I was, I would say that is phenomenal advice. Absolutely phenomenal. I mean, you can't go wrong. Yeah, you really can't with that. That is perfect. And I'm trolling too. Can't troll a troll. Well, to the 5 fake accounts shilling LTC. Here's LTC, hanging out, doing all right. Charlie Lee already confirmed via Twitter. Let's see. I'm just curious. I didn't see this yet, but it always cracks me up when somebody's like, "Oh my God, X cryptocurrency has a partnership with so and so." It's like, no, they don't. They're not going to. Bobby doesn't like talking about Litecoin. I have nothing against Litecoin. I've made great trades on Litecoin. I'm sure you've had great trades on Litecoin. But yeah, I mean, as far as things go, for me personally, I am, I don't have any Litecoin right now. I'll say that, but I bought Litecoin at like 100 to 130, and then I sold it at 260. I could have sold it higher, but I didn't. But yeah, who knows? I love when Bobby stares at the chats. Yeah, so do I. So do I. Wish there was a love it button. So do I. All right, guys. Well, if you are new to the chat too, by any chance, throw up the what's it called? Throw up the subscribe button, the little notify bell next to that. I would definitely appreciate that. But it has been a long day of me doing nothing but eating food, and I'm getting pretty tired. So I want to say Merry Christmas to everybody, again, who celebrates. Happy holidays to everything else. But going to head to bed at this point in time, relax for a little bit, and hope you guys have a great night. I'll have a daily video for you tomorrow looking at what's going on in the market. If anything happens in the next 12 hours or so, but expect another daily video tomorrow, and we'll go from there. Guys, thank you so much for your time. Really do appreciate it. Crypto Bobby signing out. Peace. Awkward silence time.